Alright, hey everyone, Robert Silver here, and today I want to bring you another photo editing video. This photo here was taken like toward the beginning of the COVID pandemic. You can see it's April 9th, and it was shot with the LUMIX S1 and a few of its L-mount lenses. But nonetheless, we went over by Golden Gate Bridge. There was hardly anybody around. It was fantastic. That was like one of the biggest benefits of the COVID pandemic, or shelter in place rather, is that we had like all access to so many beautiful areas without having tons of tourists around. But anyway, so these are the photos that Jasmine liked the most, and you can see they're not processed at all. And but I really like the way they came out so far, so I'm gonna take you through as I edit. I don't know, let's just edit this one and see where we go. This one was taken with the LUMIX S Pro 50mm f1.4 lens. It's probably one of my most go-to lenses when it comes to portraits for the past almost year now, and I simply love it. It's great, it's fantastic. So it's super beautiful bokeh and everything else. But anyway, let's get to the editing. So as always, I always click this just to see where it thinks it wants to go, and I always adjust accordingly. There we go, a little bit more. See, you could already tell the big difference. I could already tell, at least. I'm never satisfied with what it does with my vibrance. I like it to pop a little bit. Let's see what it does at 10 here. There we go. Look at that. Way more luscious. Love it. I never judge an image, obviously, from a camera. Just looking at the raw files, I gotta see how far I could push and pull the highlights and shadows. Texture, I like to add a little bit, just a little bit. A little goes a long way with the texture, but it does add nice crispiness to the details, as you can see. So there we go. I always try to get rid of like little things that annoy me visually. Like this right here would annoy the hell out of me. Oops. So let's get rid of that. Boom. Let's get rid of this. Believe it or not, that will annoy me later. Yeah, so far pretty good. Cool. The sticks are what should be there. Everything else looks pretty cool. Yeah, I like the way that looks. Let's see the shadow. Yeah, let's bring it down. Actually, let's bump up the contrast of hair. Cool. Digging that. I do want to have some grit to it. Her skin's really good. Obviously, when you add more clarity or texture or something, sometimes it can affect the outcome on the skin the most. But her skin is really nice, so therefore I can push this a little bit to add a little bit of pop and clarity. So if someone has a little bit more blemishes, etc., it will accentuate that tremendously if you add more clarity. So just be careful how you add it. Okay. So far I'm digging that. Let me just see what happened. Ooh. Oh, I like the grit in that. Alright, so let's go back to 0 here. I already know what I want to do. So you can see I usually take care of each row at a time, just the way it's laid out. I guess I got kind of used to doing that. So I'm gonna go to the Radial Filter here. Calm down, boy. What do we got going on? Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to use the Radial Filter. Let's see what we got going on. Let's actually obviously make that a lot smaller. Oops. Here we go. Boom. I'm not sure. Let's delete that. Cool. Nice. That's pretty much how I want it. Let's invert it. Make it a little bit wider. A little bit wider. go. Mess with this feathering a little bit. Cool, because I want the edge of the effect to be a gradual fall off. Awesome. Cool. Turn that off. And now this is where I'm going to add that clarity. The dehaze, excuse me. Kind of liking that. Look at, this is what it was. And with it applied, yeah, adds that nice grit to it, to the bricks, without applying it to her. Okay. So I really like that. This is an effect that I think is a lot of times overlooked. Is this radial filter. Now this I see a lot of people using, which is the linear, I think it's linear gradient. Oh, it's the gradient filter, but this is the radial, so it's this radial radius, and it's a circle, and then gradient, it's going to be that nice straight line. If you wanted to choose to add some sort of effect, it'll go in a straight line. It'll look like this here. Whoop, just like that. Anyway, so far so good. So what I always do is after a couple of edits, I'll always go to click the slash button and just check out the before and after. You can already see big difference, but with these edits, I'm gonna just make it a little bit brighter. Before, after, before, after. Now I use that before and after a lot. You can see why I took out that rock right down here, right? You can see how like it doesn't even need to be there. Beautiful, beautiful. There's this writing up here too. You guys notice that? Let's try to take that away. So I'm gonna use the blemish removal tool and just go over it best I can. Okay. Boom. Let me see if I can get that away. There you go. Let's put it like right underneath here. Boom. Cool. I don't mind it being a little messy. I mean, this isn't really the most perfect thing. You know, I think I can do a better job. Let's go ahead. Let's not see. This is. Oops. Decrease the size a little bit. There we go. When I'm removing a blemish, I like the mask to be applied a little bit more than what the blemish I'm trying to remove. There we go. That's much cleaner. There we go. Okay, cool. Enter twice. Back out. Bada bing. Let's take a little look. Let me see if I can fix the. There we go. That's better. See how it's a little bit harsh? I'm gonna adjust the feathering to see if we can smooth that out a little bit. See how that looks. It's better, but let's see. There we go. There we go. Boom, boom. That's pretty cool. Get out. There we go. Before, after, before, after. Already, I'm definitely digging it. Definitely digging it. Let's increase the highlights just a hair. There we go. Look at that. Just even doing that makes a big difference. Once highlights. Sometimes I like to get those highlights away, but in this case, it's making her pop a little bit. Ironically, the highlights are hitting right on the right spots too. So this is. It's not blown out, so this is definitely a nice look so far. Alright, so I think I have the basics done. Let's go to tone curve, see what we can do here. now I realize, go back to my dehaze effect here. Bring that down a tad. Oh, what? I thought I did dehaze on this. There we go. There we go. Just increase that just a little bit. Cool. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so you can see right here and here the dehaze isn't applied. So we're gonna go back, click on that marker, and I'm gonna turn on the mask right here. If you can't get to it, press T, and T will open up, get this box open, or this part open. Click on it and it'll stay on. Now I'm gonna go over here and press brush and apply this mask where the radial filter didn't go. So you can see my you can see that the feather on it is pretty broad, just so that I could gently get in closer. There we go. And I'm gonna clean it up. If you press the option button for Mac, it will turn to negative and you can erase and kind of like touch up the edges a little bit. So you can see I touched up there, there. Make this a little smaller. Go under hair. Cool. Because I just want, obviously, the wall. I don't want our hair to be affected by this effect. Just be patient. It's all gonna work out. The more patient you are, the more you'll see in terms of mistakes you may have missed, or what areas you can better enhance and edit. So, great thing about Adobe Premiere, or a lot of their programs, or Lightroom in this case, and Photoshop, is undo. Just go ahead and go crazy on that if you feel you went too far. Cool. Just get my toe there. Cool. Nice, nice, nice. Turn off the mask overlay. Boom. Enter twice. And there we go. It's looking pretty good so far. I love the colors. Before, after, before, after. Already this looks pretty dope, pretty dope. And if not, feel free to comment down below. Welcome all good and bad comments. Okay, so you can see, like, during the last version, what is up with this thing here? I'm using the Intuos small tablet. It's amazing, but for some reason it's not like double click on here. It's just full or something. There we go. Let's close that. You guys don't need to see all that. Okay, anyway, so you can see so far how much I've been able to do inside of Lightroom without having to even think about going to Photoshop. I've gone to Photoshop way less in the past year or so, definitely since their last version update, because it's become such a powerful tool, and has helped to increase my workflow all inside of Lightroom. So I'm pretty impressed with what it can do so far, but I never use this program for tethering. It's absolutely horrible for tethering, but for editing and processing, yeah, this thing's a beast. Okay, so, oh, Jesus. There we go. Cool. So we applied the tone curve, and you can see right here, if you click right there, you could turn off that specific effect and see what it looks like. There we go. Turn it on, off, on. And when it comes to effects, I really go by the, like, this adage that's like, a dab will do, right? So a little goes a long way. So if you're gonna apply anything, just be careful. So here, if I want to affect any of the specific color ranges, I can go ahead and do so with the saturation, the luminance, which is the brightness, or the hue or the color. So I'm kind of digging everything. I'm not really upset with how, if I thought like, let's say the green was too green, I could like go to the luminance, no matter of fact, saturation I would use, and bring down the greens if I wanted to. But I actually love the poppy nature of this, like the whole color palette situation going on. So I'm going to keep it as is. I'm very much digging this whole thing. Now going right down the line here, if I wanted to add any dope, like if I wanted to make any filters, you know, action kind of thing, like a, what do you call it? That's horrible. Make it more like a Instagram filter. Oh, this is kind of nice though. There we go. Boop. Just a little bit. What do you think? What do you think? It's a little too much. Dial that back. Dial this up. No, dial that back. You know what? Sometimes you just gotta stay with what you know worked. Oh, there we go. That's actually. Oh, look at that, a happy mistake. I'm not Bob Ross, but sometimes you gotta enjoy the happy mistakes. So I like that. That warmed it up a little bit. Still added the grit. Let me see. Gosh, this is a hard one. Post a comment down below. Do you like it without the split toning or with the split toning? Anyway, let me know down below. Give me your opinion. We'll turn it off for now, because I know for sure I like it without it. Okay. Detail. I always like to bump this up a bit, at least to 60. Get that nice crispness going on. Every camera I've used, whether it's been Nikon in the past, and obviously I shoot with Lumix now, benefits from adding a little bit of sharpness. Even though they come out sharp and I like the way it looks from the beginning, it doesn't hurt to enhance it. Okay. Oh, excuse me. Let's go back to the beginning. This is what I need. There we go. Oh, wow. Usually I see a little bit more. I'm surprised. Oh, there we go. That's what I needed. Cool. Add the masking. I like it to just affect most of the lines. So let me put this back. Dope. I always like going in and checking everything, just to triple check how it's affected. Noise reduction, I mean, I shot it at ISO 320, so there's like no reason for me to add any noise reduction. If I wanted to add any little bit, it might be 5 or 10. But the thing about noise reduction is, seriously, like, take heed to this advice. A little goes a long way, especially when it is applied to portraits, because of the skin tone. You still want the texture of that skin, and noise reduction can end up making the skin texture look very like buttery and unnatural and rubbery. All right, lens correction, kind of dig the way it is. I don't see anything major going on. Effects, here is where if I want to, there you go, add a little pop there. There we go. Oh, definitely digging it. Yeah. Okay, so right there you can see easily how I've been able to complete an entire photo inside of Lightroom, but there's still gonna be a final touch. I wanna just, she has beautiful skin, but I'm gonna make it even more nice. Let's go. There we go. Let's go one to one on this. Cool. So I'm gonna take this, go to lights. Okay, so it's already there. So this is your your brush tool here. Apply right there. Click that. You can see where you're applying it. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Her skin's really nice, which is super helpful for post-production. Makes the job much easier, but never hurts to enhance what she's already got. And that goes for most of my clients, you know. I like to keep it as natural, but just clean it up as like natural as possible, but clean it up. Cool. Now let's take a look. Cool. Hands look okay. Now let's go back to Navigator. Make this full. Okay, let's take a look. There we go. Now, I usually use the light because, again, a little goes a long way. And the further you pull away from the photo, the better her skin looks anyway. So there's no reason to go super hard and heavy with the editing if you're going to be looking at this at a distance, or even on your cell phone. It just doesn't make any sense to go super overboard with skin smoothing. And that's what I see one of the most common mistakes with beginning photo editors is that they go overboard just because they have the ability to, and then the skin just looks unrealistic. I still want her to have texture. I still want it to look real. I still want it to have shadows where she should have shadows, but I just want to clean it up. And that's exactly what this did. If I wanted to, I could adjust even further the parameters of that skin smoothing. So like I can bring the texture up a bit, I can bring the clarity up a bit, and all that will add more texture to the skin. And the further you go this way, in the negatives, it will add more smoothing to it. So you can adjust those parameters, even though this is just a preset that it's softening the skin lightly, but you could go even heavier if you wanted to. Okay, so I like the way he looks. She looks great. Go back to full. There we go. So that, you know what, I'm gonna actually decrease this just a hair. Just a hair. There we go. So there we go. We have one completed photo. Now, I may not have shared this earlier, but what we can do, since all these photos are in the same location pretty much, except for this one, well, in this one, this was a different spot. But if they're all in the same location, I like to use batch editing. And when I batch edit, it makes my job much easier because it increases the speed of my workflow. So this is how we're going to do it. We're going to highlight one photo, and since in theory the parameters are all going to be the same except for a few slight adjustments, I'm going to click on this and then hold down shift and then click on the last photo, and it highlights all of them, but the primary one is here. Then I'm going to come over to sync. I'm going to say yes, copy all the parameters from this photo and apply it to the rest of these photos. Then I'm going to press synchronize, boom bada bing, they have all been applied. So you can see here, all the same settings have been applied, except for the parameters I didn't choose, which is blemish removal, the radiant tool, and everything up here, because obviously the subject changes in the frame position, so therefore it would look really retarded. Okay, but as far as color and exposure, I copied it, but you can see it still needs adjusting. But my workflow is 70% done. Now I can just go in here and adjust accordingly. Boom. I can even see now that I look at it, I want to adjust this a little bit. There we go. Boom. Really digging that. And this is a little distracting to the truth, so I'm gonna use good old blemish removal. This is the first trick I'm gonna try. I'm gonna first try to see if I can just delete it all. Cool. Let me see if I press heal. Kind of dig that actually, so I'm gonna sneak it over. Here we go. Here we go. I like this better, just because that. Here, let's look at the before. See, that's a little distracting to me. So boom, cool. It's really about her. In this case, I'm gonna raise that up a little bit. Exposure. Let's go to the shadow. Let's see what we can see what it looks like from here. Cool. Digging that. Nice. Let's go to tone curve. Digging that. So you can see, overall, I can go through it much faster since I just synced all the same settings over, and I just readjust a little bit of what, the areas I don't want. Let me see. When you're using tone curve, this side is highlights, this is shadows that you're affecting in the image. And RGB, red, green, and blue, just means when I use this channel, I'm affecting all the parameters, or basically the highlights and shadows, and it has nothing to do with specific color tone range. I'm pretty much affecting all of them, but I'm gonna just bring it down just there. Cool. But you can see here and here the exposure is a little different. I guess the sun is hitting obviously this side of the face, her face, a little bit less. So I have a little trick. I'm gonna try to mess with that in a second. Let's stop right there. Let's stop right there. I don't think the vignetting is gonna. Cool. Now I'm going to use that radial filter, apply it to just her face. Cool. And then I'm going to use the exposure and just kind of balance it out just a hair. There we go. Let me see. Kind of balance out between a 1 and a 2. I still want to keep her shadows though. Let's because I understand the light is coming from here, so I do want a difference. I just don't want it to be a dramatic exposure difference between her chest and like her hands and her leg to her face. So that's why I did that. And then let's go before. After, before, after. Liking it, I'm liking it, I'm liking it. That's pretty cool. Let me look for any situations I don't want to see later. Okay. Cool. Alright, this is not bad. Let's see what I can do about these highlights. There we go. There we go. That's better. 1, 2, 1, 2. Beautiful. Okay. So there we go. Let me just see. Let me just play around. Yeah. See, that's. Yeah. I can see why I took that away. Just a little bit. Cool. So you can see as I'm going through how fast my this is one thing I wanted to add. I almost forgot. So now I'm gonna add a bigger radial filter, apply it to her here. Let me just make sure it's applied correctly. Okay, let's affect the feathering. That's cool. Could do that. Add brush. And fill in those spots. Option to make it a negative and then just clean up the edges. Most importantly is her face, obviously. And her skin tones that I don't want to affect with the dehaze. You could be as detailed as you want to be. I'm just trying to go kind of fast. I don't want this video to last forever and ever and ever. As much as I am happy you're tuning in. Back to brush, there we go. Go to minus. Cool. Love it. Turn off the overlay. And now I can already see a big difference. I'm glad I didn't forget that step. 1, 2. Ooh, that just makes her pop right out of it. Wow, look at that. That's great. That's great. 1, 2. That was awesome. Oops. Yeah. Now she really jumps out. Using that dehaze and bringing out the detail, more contrast in the background, really helped to make her jump out to the foreground. And the colors, it just makes her jump right out of the photo. This is beautiful. I love the contrast, enough lighting on her skin to make her pop, add some dimension. Beautiful. 1, that's the before, and 2 for the after. Now let's apply some skin smoothing. Again, keeping it the same at light. Where are we? Here we go. I'll just make this a little bit smaller. Boom. Now let's just apply it accordingly. Oh, let's add the mask overlay so you can see what I'm doing. And you can see I'm not trying to hit the nostrils or anything. I want the detail. So anywhere you want detail, you for sure want to avoid. Okay. Here we go. I'm trying to go like right underneath her hairline. Because again, a lot of this is like illusion. As long as everything else is pretty smooth, you don't need to hit the hairline to make it look like it was smooth. The smoothing was applied up to the hairline. So it's a little bit of photo editing magic, if you will. Here we go. See, I'm not going to hit the hair. I'm not going to hit the hair. I want the details. I want it to all stay. Touch the hands. Those look smooth. This work on that knee right there. And again, I'm not claiming I'm the best, by far not. But this is just how I get down when it comes to photo editing and the process. Cool. Now let's go back to fit. Awesome. So here we go. Turn this off. Boom, bada bing. She's looking pretty good. Let's go back in. There you go. Let's go before, after. Before, you can see here, you can see there, big difference. Beautiful. It helps that again that the subject, starts off with pretty clear and good skin, or healthy skin rather. But if not, you just had to do a little bit more. Like see this right here. If you have some imperfection here, whoops, I'd use blemish tool, make this a little bit smaller, and again, however, whatever you're trying to apply this blemish tool, make it just wider than that. Boom. You definitely don't want that. Let's go down here. Let's use heel. There we go. Beautiful. Like it was never there. Bam. Nice. Let's do before, after. Before, after. And here's our first photo. Nice. Here's our second. Very cool. I'm definitely happy with these two results. Let me just boost up. Let's just stay here. Just one more. 10. There we go. Because I want it to be different, but I don't want it to be too far off. This is cool. Let me just yeah, I'm actually digging that better. It makes the highlights of the this yellow or mustard color pop a little bit more. I like it. Cool. 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 All right. Well, there you go. You can see that I did everything that I wanted to do. I would be more than happy to post these, having done everything from Lightroom. And I haven't left Lightroom. I did my skin smoothing, my color correction, everything inside of it. And I'd be more than happy to post these on my website, share it with the model and everything else. If you want to know who Jasmine is, she's an amazing musician, and you can check her out by pressing the link down below. I'll make sure that you guys can reach out to her if you want to work with her. Outside of that, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Robert Silver Photography, and of course hit that subscribe button on my YouTube channel. Please support the movement. I'm gonna be bringing you more photo editing videos. I hope you enjoyed this one. There'll be plenty more coming up. If you have any questions, comments, or any video ideas that you would like to see me do, please post those down below. I'm Robert Silver, and until next time, keep shooting, stay creative.